The King of Knowledge, I Am, influences all of the senses and seems to grant these senses the lordship over the sense objects. It is because of this externalization that the fact that God is present prior to the senses does not attract anyone's attention. Over many births, the mind and intellect have acquired the habit of only looking outwards. Therefore, to turn within has become a very difficult task. This is called the reverse path, which the saints and sages follow when the turn in the opposite direction happens. And behold the mind completely giving up seeing all that is external. Where an ordinary man is asleep, the saints and sages are awake. And where an ordinary man is awake, the saints and sages doze off. All beings find themselves awakened to external objects and have become extremely skillful in this type of awakening. The saints and sages, however, have closed their eyes to external things, and it is the self, Atman, to which other beings are asleep, that keeps the saints and sages wide awake. One who gets 1,000,000 rupees is worried about how to double it the next day. He pushes himself to acquire more and more. However, the saints warn him, turn back, you may be caught in the whirlpool of illusion. This Maya has come in like a full tide, and you might be carried away. The modern technological advances that come to this world with newer and newer innovations, as well as those yet to come, make up a cyclone of the great illusion, Maha Maya, or Mula Maya. Be certain that you will be held captive by it. Who knows to where the one who is caught by this great cyclone will be carried off? When the saints see one whose attention is taken up by these modern advances, running here and there, struggling in his pursuits, they try their utmost to bring about an awakening of self-knowledge in him. There is a story about when Saint Ramdas and Saint Tukaram met each other while standing on the opposite banks of a river. With a gesture of his hand, Samartha Ramdas asked Saint Tukaram, "How much awakening have you brought about among the people?" Saint Tukaram replied with a gesture, forming his right hand in a fist and putting the back of it to his lips, to indicate that nowhere had he found anybody who cared for awakening to the self. Then Tukaram put the same question back to Samartha Ramdas, who then indicated that there was no one awakening whatsoever. They then continued on their way. Saint Tukaram has said, "How can I describe the obligation of the saint? They are continuously awakening me." Even though it is true that Saint Tukaram and Samartha Ramdas are no longer with us in bodily form, they have given us all they wanted to teach in the books Abhangatha and Daspod. The great wealth that they have handed over to us is the priceless legacy of these books. Whoever makes a claim that he is an heir to their legacy will enjoy this priceless inheritance. However, the one who wants this wealth must give up the pride of mundane, demonical wealth. In addition, Whatever acts that one considers as meritorious and dear to one's heart must also be renounced. One must be prepared to take a step on the path that turns inward. These are the conditions for becoming a beneficiary of this legacy. Man is fully immersed in the pride of his body, his caste, his family, his region and country, and whatever good or bad is in his nature. All of these various types of pride have possessed him. And until he becomes completely free from these various types of pride, how can he claim to benefit from the legacy of this treasure that the saints have left behind? Only the one whose heart sincerely relinquishes pride can become the beneficiary of this wealth. There is hope for the man who becomes aware of these various types of pride that he has acquired from birth after birth, which have become his second nature. If only he sincerely relinquishes this pride, he need not be frustrated. If a slave is awakened to the knowledge that he is a slave, he instantly starts looking for a way to freedom. A slave who finds joy in his slavery and makes every effort to continue in that condition cannot even conceive that a highway to freedom exists until such a time that the knowledge of his slavery dawns on him. In a similar way, a lucky man who feels that the ambition of getting ahead of others is actually taking him on a downward path will get from that day onward a glimpse of the reverse direction shown by the saints and sages. Slowly, he automatically starts making the effort to step onto a new path. The various types of pride may not leave one all at once. If the aspirant starts to become completely determined to be aware of the pride that he harbors and begins to leave them one by one, the infinitely merciful Lord will not fail to give him a helping hand. One takes pride in vicious or evil acts. This must be counteracted by increasing pride in good acts, and thus eradicating all of his bad qualities. The good qualities must be nourished and developed. However, one must not be attached to them and must slowly begin to abandon the pride arising from good actions. A doubt may arise here that although vices deserve to be left, why is it that you tell us to leave good qualities also? After all, good qualities are always good. Dear aspirants, although the possession of good qualities in comparison with vices and bad qualities seems to be better with regard to the pursuit of attaining self-knowledge, the possession of the good qualities which one holds dear to one's heart is really 100 times worse and truly needs to be thrown out. Look into this and see. An aspirant tries to leave his bad qualities on the advice of the saints and sages because of the sense of shame that is created by society or in one's mind. However, the one who possesses good qualities is always getting praise in the world and is accordingly full of pride about these good qualities. It is very difficult for one to let go of the pride about good qualities. The pride regarding negative qualities can be left fairly easily, but it is not so in the case of pride regarding good qualities. Nobody wants to admit that he has committed any error. But the pride that one harbors when he has given meals to thousands who have visited the 4 holy places, or opened lodging for holy people, or worshipped the deity millions of times, becomes so firm in him that it becomes almost impossible to give it up. It is when one recognizes one's worldly ways and is ready to relinquish them that he soon finds a Sadguru. However, the one who is sought after by everyone for performing many good deeds gets so deeply buried in the flattery that as if he is being showered with evil. And this way the Sadguru becomes lost due to his pride. Realizing this, one must conclude that pride about bad qualities is tolerable, but the pride about good qualities is best to be avoided completely. Both the pride about one's good qualities and pride about one's bad qualities are thorns on the path to self-knowledge. When one thorn is pulled out with the help of another thorn, there still remains the second thorn, the pride of good actions, that one carries around in the shirt pocket. Will this thorn not also prick the chest or rib? If a thief is shackled by iron handcuffs and a king by golden handcuffs, does that mean that the king is not bound? Take it for granted that while the man in the iron cuffs will thank someone who frees him from them, the man with the golden cuffs will pounce on the throat of anyone who tries to free him. He will try his best to permanently keep the golden cuff on his hands. What is the force behind this? Who is this friendly enemy in this example who makes one feel so happy in his bondage? It is the pride one has in good deeds that is the real arch enemy of the aspirant. This pride is the enemy who blocks the way to ultimate truth, Paramartha. Therefore, it is necessary to renounce any pride that one has about good deeds. This may require tremendous effort, but without renouncing all pride, the aspirant can never claim his legacy to the wealth of knowledge. It is believed by many that a man's worldly wealth, such as money, wife, and his status, is the result of meritorious deeds done in previous births. But these very beliefs act as boulders obstructing the way to finding the ultimate truth. Therefore, it may be said that these things are really the result of body identification, which is the true definition of sin. When a person is infused with pride, he becomes possessed, and therefore becomes incapable of treading the path of ultimate truth. Contrary to the wealthy man, there might be a man who does not have a penny, who is quite ugly, has no wife or status, and is so poverty-stricken that in order to fill his belly, he is willing to eat whatever food he could get from anyone. He may have lost his caste and family and friends, and all who were dear to him. This homeless wanderer may be naked on all fronts, and even believed to be wretched by the whole of society. Yet he truly may be more worthy of gaining self-knowledge, because he is naturally free of pride. The ears of someone like the poor naked man turn towards the Sadguru sooner than one whose ears are filled with flattery. The one who is puffed up with pride has no room for receiving the advice of the Sadguru. Such a person has no time to turn to the Sadguru's advice, even for a minute. The whole of humanity has become entangled in illusion from birth and lives in bondage. In addition to this, man creates many types of artificial bondage around him in the form of comforts and attachments, resulting from ever newer inventions. If man has to live in modern society, he has to abide by and respect the norms of traditional social conventions and governmental rules. For example, wearing a necktie in order for one to do one's daily work is supposed to be the proper social etiquette. And these types of ways to be up to date in society makes one feel that he is getting more and more freedom. In modern society, if one does not indulge in drinking or drugs, or does not shave every day, he is considered a social outcast. By diving into the bondage of such a society and holding such silly ideas dear to the heart, one only continues binding oneself, only further increasing the pride that one has about worthless things. Unless these types of social bondage and pride are completely thrown off, and unless one is considered to be a madman by the so-called socially wise people, there is no hope that one will arrive at such a mental state that allows one to be free from pride and social bondage. The Sadguru's only aim is to help one to become completely free of all pride and to eradicate the identification with the body. If the aspirant finds the renunciation of all pride and social bonds difficult to do, or is unwilling to formally renounce his wife or money or estate, he can at least begin with inward renunciation. And when this becomes successful, the formal renunciation slowly becomes possible.